A lot of my friends got killed. One of my friends got stabbed in the heart with a screwdriver in front of me and died and stuff. But what happened is the gang had a leadership. We used to call the carnales, like the big guys, the shot callers, the OGs. And alhamdulillah, I don't know if I say alhamdulillah or not, but I was a part of that, right? So there'd be 13, members. Those would be the leadership council. And we had a rule: blood in, blood out. You can understand what blood in means, but blood out means you get killed to leave, meaning you never leave, right? Yeah. So one of the guys that was also on that council, he was a very good friend of mine. Grew up with him since I was young. I mean, since basically I got to the U.S. He was 2 years older than me. And he was very, again, like, I know they're gang members and it's kind of a strange thing to say, but he was a really nice guy. Like, he kind of looked out for me like an older brother, right? My father didn't live with us. I didn't have any older siblings. I was the only child. So, even in school or out, he was somebody that was very close to me. And what would happen is we would set up these hits back and forth. So let's say you're a leader in another gang, and you did something to somebody in our gang. Now we want to hit you. Well, we can't really just walk up in your hood because you're going to be protected. So we would make these plans, right? Like, okay, where's you going to be? And we had very strict rules. Nowadays the gang scene is a mess, but we didn't kill children, we didn't kill women, we didn't kill the elderly. If you were a gang member, you were walking with your girl or you had your baby or something, you got a pass, right? So, we had rules. So we had to kind of live. Even drive-bys, they got banned by the MA, So there was a time we used to do drive-bys, and then, one of the big MA guys that was in prison, most of the big MA guys are all doing life, with no parole. So his niece got shot on accident during a drive-by. So they said no drive-bys. So then you would have to at least put a foot on the ground, to do a shooting.
LA is known for California is known for drive-bys.
Yeah. The black gangs have different rules. Mexican gangs have different rules and so on. But one of the first rules was no homosexuality. The MA is very strict against no gay stuff, no harming children and stuff like that. Anyway, nowadays, I don't know. Things may have fallen apart. I've been away from the scene for, alhamdulillah, a long time. So this girl came up to me at a party and she gave me a number and, she wanted to meet up. And at that time, when you were in that kind of situation, you would get a lot of attention, not just because of your looks or something, but because you could facilitate a lot of things for a lot of people. So I was supposed to go see her, and we didn't have cell phones like nowadays. We used to have pagers, right? We had some cell phones, but they were like those old,
early 90s.
Yeah, this is this is 90, early 90s. So I had another girl that contacted me about. So my mom was very strict, right? So I couldn't, and this is something I've never spoken back to my mother. I was never disrespectful with my mother. I never yelled at my mother till today. And, people can ask my mother, alhamdulillah, I'm always, been respectful. She did a lot for me. She went through a lot of hardships. So I always had a respect. So if I wanted to go do stuff, what would I do? I would go stay at my friend's house, and his parents would tell my mother, yeah, they're going to be in bed by 9, but, we do whatever. So Saturday night, I was spending the night at that same friend's house. And, he used to have a garage where we used to sell drugs and have guns and stuff. And then he had an inner house, which nobody was allowed in, because that's where his grandmother and parents and all lived. But with me, he was that close that I would stay inside the house, and I would speak to his family and all that. So Saturday night, I was staying at his house, and I told him, hey, I got these two at the same time. I don't know what to do. So he's like, well, give me one. I'll take one. You take the other. I said, all right. So I gave him one number, and I took the other. And what happened is he called, and basically she said, meet me at this payphone and call me, and I'll come out and get you. So he went, and when he got to the payphone, he rang the number. Instead of her coming out, a bunch of guys came out and they shot him.
The setup?
It was a setup. But the setup was for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Qadar Allah.
Qadar Allah. So, months they had planned this out, when I met her, and then she kept in touch with me, but she was working for them. So all that, was just a setup. Now, I didn't know. I was out, and the next morning I got a call, and they said he's dead. I was like, what? What do you mean he's dead? He was doing this last night. He's like, no, it was a setup. And it hit me hard. Did
you feel guilty?
I felt guilty. Yeah. It was different feeling because
He's a close friend as well.
Very close. Very good guy. And he was always protective over me, and it was meant to be me. So I went to his funeral. First I saw him, and he had been shot 9 times. So I mean, the bullets were, I don't know how many bullets they shot. It was multiple shooters and stuff, but it was a 357 bullet that went through his head. So the back of the head was gone, and front had holes, and shoulder, hand, chest. The body was all holed up, and you know somebody since you're a young kid. I mean, like I said, I'd seen other people die, but this was a very close friend, and it was supposed to have been me. So I was just imagining myself there. And when we buried him, we had a lot of money. Like we used to bring drugs. I mean, we couldn't put it in a bank. We couldn't buy property. We couldn't invest it. We didn't. So what we'd do is we'd buy cars and put expensive rims on them, and so we had a really nice '64 Impala with rims and hydraulics and paint job and custom seats and all that. And it was, I was 18 at the time, and so I mean, it's not like it wasn't really mine. It was ours together from the money that we all got from the drug trade and stuff. And he used to take care of that car. Like, he was really into cars. I wasn't really a car guy, but he was really, he would wash it and clean it and all that stuff. And I saw his brothers were driving the car, and he had 13 girlfriends, not girls that he slept with, who knows, but 13 that were like his girlfriends, like that they all knew about each other and all that, And each one of them was at the funeral, but crying on some other guy's shoulder. I watched this, I watched those girls go home with another guy. I went to his house. I was very close to his family, and obviously his mother was having a panic attack, and his grandmother was crying, but his brothers were already fighting over his things. We on the West Coast, we dress different from the East Coast. We don't wear like Versace and Bali and all that. We wear Dickies and Pendletons and Ben Davises, and that was our dress code. And at that time we had these jackets called Ben Davis. They were heavy jackets, and they were like expensive. For us, they were expensive, So his brothers were already fighting over that, and he used to store his money at home. And I knew where he kept it. We were all trust. It was gone. Like, his brothers already taken it, And I just started thinking, what's life about? Like, we used to think about drugs. We didn't do heavy drugs, from the leadership. We had very strict rules. We couldn't do meth. We couldn't do coke. We couldn't do heroin, because that would make you vulnerable, right? But selling drugs and things, what would that help him now? Money. Obviously, money was a big thing. We were all broke. We were all poor kids, So money was something important to us.